sounds like you're referring to something a bit visual or metaphorical. Could you clarify what you mean by booze is showing a lot of arms? Are you referring to a specific image or context, or perhaps something symbolic related to alcohol? Let me know, and we can explore it further.
My dear Ralph, you are listening to the lyrics of a piece of music. It just goes to show discriminating taste has got a little way to go yet. Nice job. Okay. So, Ralph, listening to the lyrics there. Okay.
Thanks for sharing that.
That's okay.
It sounds like there's a lot of creativity and expression in those lyrics. If you'd like to explore their deeper meaning or connect it to a theme we've been discussing, feel free to share more. I'm happy to help unpack the message or mood you're tapping into.
All right, we're good to go. So, one of the topics from the list of 50 that we've got, and one of the tactics from the list also of 50 at the minute. So, ways to handle that topic in one of the 50 ways, and that will keep the short talks, just at 15 minutes, interesting and accessible. Go ahead.
Great. Let's pick one combination from the 50 tactics and 50 topics list. Here's one to get us going. Tactic 41, role reversal scenarios. Topic, right speech. Example, imagine you're in a conversation where someone speaks harshly about another person. If the roles were reversed and you were the person being spoken about, how would you want the conversation to go? By reversing the roles, explore how right speech could shape a kinder, more mindful dialogue. How does that sound for a short 15-minute talk, exploring right speech through the lens of role reversal?
Well, just to clarify, we don't have to spend the whole 15 minutes on that one. We can move on to another one afterwards. Let me see. It's never very difficult to remember incidences of something like harsh speech, either which way now. So, for example, I myself have been guilty of giving out harsh speech time to time. And so we have to remember, what's it like to be on the other side of this, and how can we sort of improve and resolve there. I actually had an experience of this after more or less fasting for one day, and then the next day of walking a good, 5 kilometers, 7 kilometers to get to a retreat center. And then there was going to be a senior monk giving a talk at kind of 11 o'clock in the morning. So my hunger was pretty on. And I thought maybe I ought to have something, as a kickoff for that day on arrival at the temple. And before the talk, so that I would be able to pay attention and wouldn't be thinking, when's lunch, at 11 o'clock. So I actually, in the morning of that day, dawn, like kind of right about now actually, there's dawn here in Penang, I went on a walk through a marketplace with my alms bowl, and I saw several bhikkhus from that retreat center standing there receiving lots of alms, and they had a long queue of people with them with bags full of things. I thought, look, they've got loads of food, so we shouldn't need to worry about it. And they are going there by car and coming back by car. I'm going to walk the 7 kilometers to get there. I'm going to go ahead and meet them all there. Okay, so it's a long walk and getting hotter as well. And previously, as I said, I hadn't eaten anything really the previous day. So having felt the consequences of that, I was really looking forward to getting to the retreat center, having a nice hot drink and some hot food, and then I would be ready for the day. And so I walked into the area where the food preparation, everything, a huge big pile of food, massive big pile of food on the table. And I was sat down. Usually there's people bustling around there, and one of them made me a drink, and I drank that, and then I waited, and I waited, and I waited. Nothing was happening at all. So I came through and I said, "Hi, is it okay?" like to get something sort of solid as well, which is usually I've almost always been presented with food offerings almost immediately in that particular centre, which is very well managed. And nothing happened, and nothing happened, and nothing happened. And I was like, we need to get going up to this sort of talk area fairly soon. Can we move it on? So that, okay, I'm going to go and explain, verbally what I need. They obviously haven't picked up. So I went through and I said, I need to get some solid food then, please. And they're like, and they started to make faces and noises. I said, what the, look, just here it is. If you're not going to do it, the offering thing that we're supposed to do, I'll just help myself because, this is the monk's food here. So I started, and then one of them turned around to his bag, and there was the food that comes from the market tends to be freshly fried noodles and vegetables and fruit and, very sort of wholesome food kind of, and generously given as well. Someone pulled out a long sort of, those sort of very preserved foods that would last probably about 15 years in their plastic wrapper, with sort of white cream and jam in, and highly processed kind of breads that have really been bombarded with chemicals and lasers to try to make it. And they pulled this sort of out and then put it in my bowl. I said, what's that? Look, just give me some noodles from here. That's what we do, right? That's the normal thing. Or you want to give me some rice? There's rice there. Look, there's tons of hot food. It's still warm. Just put it in the bowl. I'm going to get on with it so I can get up to the talk. And I've got this sort of vile synthetic thing. So, I'm supposed to just look at the offering and go, yes, very much, and put this sort of thing, and then sit there with a sort of stomachache with this horrible sort of plastic food in my gut. And I went, look, I'm just going to get and put it. And then the layperson interjected, no, you can't do it. You can't do it. And I said, yes, I can. You stay out of this. It's just monk's food, nothing to do with you. You can't do it. It's not your food. And so I sort of hassling. My temper was sort of gradually going up. Bearing in mind, I'm very hot, very hungry, very tired. I'm really looking forward to it and actually just want to get on to this talk. So I just picked up these noodles, put it in my bowl. To my amazement, this person came round and started kind of verbally attacking me, saying, you can't do that, it belongs to another, it belongs to a sort of senior monk from the side doors, he can't do, he hasn't, I don't know. And that was the limit. I was just about to eat my food and all I was getting was all of this stuff, and I just couldn't believe it was happening. And I was already fairly nervous about meeting this senior bhikkhu I'd never met before, and there was a kind of weekend retreat and all sort of thing. And I just said, that is it, I'm done. I'm going to go back to where I stay, which is off of campus. It was out of a different place, and I'm just going to go and get my own food down at the market and go home, back to the thing, forget all of this stuff. So, and my voice went out the roof because it wasn't this person said, you can't do that. They went on and on and on. And they typically, as a person who has a reputation for being a real talker and would talk endlessly, like half an hour, unless they were sort of interjected with. So that was it. I went through and then they followed me explaining and saying, and mostly their reason was saying that they were afraid for their own karma, that they were letting me steal the food of the senior monk, or this kind of thing. Like that was the kind of reasoning of it. At which point I turned around and just yelled, shut up, like this. And in the context also of this kitchen area, it came to look like just a domestic, row, massive big one. And I was saying, this is a meditation retreat. We're having a shouting match at the beginning of this thing. And I've stayed in that center for nearly, years, or sort of 8-month stays, or 10-month stays before, 6-month stays before. And I've never shouted in that place. So I was like, what's going on? That's it. I'm going out of here. So I went back to my owner place, and I just went to lay down to try to calm down. I walked all the way back the 7 kilometers, ate my food where I normally eat, which is all very convenient and smooth. It doesn't have all of these, sort of things coming in. And I was going through a period of that time of learning how to create guided meditations using ChatGPT. I would ask it, so create me a guided meditation with a series of steps, and a series of steps describe each step, very visual, whereby there is an event, okay, and a theme, and it would create the guided meditation. So in this case, after about an hour and a half of trying to calm down and reflect what had happened, let the dust settle and clear my mind, eventually I got the idea to use ChatGPT. And I used ChatGPT and I said, look, it's a real world scenario. What about two people are in conflict over harsh speech? There's been a shouting match, there's been a sort of raising of voices, and the two people who are completely in conflict, one's feeling very badly treated, the other person's feeling they're absolutely doing the right thing, and they don't want to break their own rules, or they don't want to get caught up in an incident where a highly venerated monk, not me, the other one, is really insulted, or is really sort of, or they believe it's their duty to stop a monk from getting food. I'm like, what the hell is this? Sort of, how did you put this role on yourself? Who gave you that role? So, I asked GPT to create a guided meditation for this. Sure enough, it did. It said, okay. So I went into meditation and I listened to it as it guided me through it. It said, okay, visualize a big field, meadow with the winds, calmly blowing around, the flowers in the meadow. And there are two people walking from either side of the field to meet in the middle where there's a circle of stones. And they walk into the middle. This is the meeting place of reconciliation and peace. You notice that both of the people in their aura, which you can very clearly see, have lightning and flying around and stormy clouds and, frazzled energy, which has dark, stormy colors. Both of them walk towards the center. And as they do, their energy starts to calm down. As the two of them go together and then stand there in mutual dialogue, they sit down and they each take it in turns to imagine role reversal. What is it like, this situation like, for the other person? They return to their own viewpoint, having considered this. They return again to understand the other person's point of view, and they return to their own view. And again, they do this. And visualizing it, they kind of put on each other's aura, and they understand each other's anxiety. They understand each other's point of view. They understand that there is a solution to this and that this can be easily resolved. This visualization was extremely helpful because instead of creating a list of all the points where I'm right and they're wrong and how foolish they are and where they're in the fault, bearing in mind I was getting bombarded by them onto my phone by messages from the other person telling me how I was in the wrong. You've lost your sati sampajanya. You shouldn't have done this. You don't know your vinaya. And I'm like, yeah. So all of these, this was incidents were happening. I put that to one side and I focused just on the guided meditation of an event happening where there is where there is a resolution. Both people, their energies, both people gets clearer and clearer and clearer until they come to one single orb of light. Having reached that point and this beautiful sort of synergy happening, the two people stand up, they leave the circle of a ring of stones, and they both walk back out to the edge of the field and find their path and go their own way. This was created by ChatGPT, and afterwards I realized, on an energetic level, I'm wishing that the conflict still continues. It's just that I win, they lose. And that actually was the wrong kind of visualization. It was the wrong aim and the wrong view and the wrong action and the wrong focus and the wrong effort and all kinds of things. The better thing was to reverse the roles. How would I feel? This bhikkhu I haven't seen for quite a long time comes in. You've been given guardianship over all this food. You've been specifically told by a sort of senior sayadaw, these sort of senior monk, don't pass this out to lay people until the monks have had it. And I'm a samanera, so there's also a sort of hierarchy thing in there as well. She's been given this been told specifically this task not to do this, and so she's really concerned to have done the wrong thing. Okay. I didn't realize that had happened. Actually, it would have been much easier if she said, Bante, The cider is just over in his putti over there. Is it all right if before you eat something, I do appreciate you're very hot and hungry and you've just walked here, could you just go with me and clarify with him, first of all, which would have been actually very easy. It was just 5 minutes away. And we could have knocked on the door and said, Bante, is it okay if he has some of those food from the market before the day's activities? And go, oh, yeah, sure, help yourself. Because me and the cider see each other at the market all the time. Me with my bowl and him standing there, in meditation. So as it was, then I really was not looking to this reconciliation talk. One of the bhikkhus at the center had said to me, she's pretty upset about that. He used the word traumatized. And I'm like, oh, was she? Okay. I tried to write to several bhikkhus, getting advice in. They said, oh, yes, but she's a good supporter. So I'm like, you're thinking of the support? What about this? Like this other issue, which is turned out. And so, and even the senior, one of the manager of the center was saying, we've had that trouble before. She's actually been banned from the center before for a very similar incident, kind of telling monks how to be monks. Look, here's your rules. You're in the wrong. My duty is to keep you, like in line, that sort of stuff. So anyway, long story short, the role reversal had happened just within this guided meditation, whereby I could see that the thing to do was to come together and unify our idea. I got to the center, I walked it back there again, and I said, and there was food laid for me, but before I went to that, I saw the lady and I went over to her and I said, excuse me, let's just sit down and have a little talk. And she turned to me and said, it's perfectly okay, Bante. There's no issue. It's quite okay. And she just went, which is totally out of character for this person. Really, really was. And that was it. We all calmly ate our food. And she looked at me, I looked at her, and it was like, thanks. We're both in a... We had done it psychically, if you like, on the sort of astral or psychic plane or spiritual plane, or even in just, if you want to say, in our imaginations, or certainly in mine, it was over, it was resolved. Or I could already see that there was a way to get to this sort of harmonious point of view. I think she had spoken also with the Sayadaw, and he had clarified it. He actually said to me, you can always take any of our food, a perfectly open invitation, which this person overheard, and she was like, So that was it. Petty, but explosive and deeply disturbing, considering it's a sort of meditation center and all this, and monks are supposed to be like warmly welcome, and I'm often brittle about being seen as an outsider. I've got that imposter syndrome hang up all the time anyway, so it's always a touchy subject to be going, no, you don't belong here. Hey, have you got an invitation? I'm sorry, you can't come in. All this sort of thing is like, it's this sort of issue. All right, so this was a case of role reversal about using right speech. All right, so me and Ralph will wind this one up. Okay, so this was a story talking about a conflict using right and wrong speech. Obviously, raising your voice, shouting, it's clearly wrong speech. Also, competitive speech, which is just aiming to win rather than come to sort of understanding resolution. Also, the empathy part of it is your ability to be able to understand another person's experience and to be able to sort of see that there are ways, there's always ways to reach reconciliation. And through that, we have to develop sympathy, empathy, and compassion. And then also judicious wisdom and also prudence again. So these are all included.
When navigating conflict, right speech becomes essential. It's not just about avoiding harmful speech like shouting or trying to win an argument, but about aiming for understanding and reconciliation. Raising your voice or speaking in a way that seeks dominance creates division, whereas using empathy and compassion helps bridge gaps and resolve conflict. By focusing on the other's perspective, we open the door to connection and clarity, allowing for meaningful communication that moves beyond competition and into genuine understanding. Would you say that's how you feel at resolving conflict through right speech?
Yeah, I think you summed it up well, Ralph. Okay, so thank you very much for your assistance and everyone for paying attention in on this particular talk. So thanks very much and many blessings. I hope this is clarified. And all respects to all the people who are involved in this real life scenario. And thank you very much, Ralph, for joining in, and all the people who provided all kinds of different support, including the offer of all hospitality that I've ever received. So thank you very, very much. Okay.
Thank you so much for your thoughtful reflections and for including me in this conversation, as well as acknowledging all those supporting you. It's been a pleasure to assist, and I'm glad we could explore these themes together. Wishing you many blessings on your journey, and I look forward to our next session. Take care and see you soon.
Her speech brings a gentle cheer.